actually, I haven't talked to you for quite a while. I haven't even listened to your show. There's so much ridiculousness going on. But, so I want to ask Scott Bedke who he works for. I want to remind everyone who is a legislator that was elected who they work for, and they work for we, the people. This is not normal time. This is a time that calls for our representatives who represent we, the people, to stand up and take action. If they are not ready or prepared or willing to do that, they need to step down. The other thing I'd like to say is, hey, we know who you're funded by, Scott Bedke. So that stuff can't be hidden anymore. And I think it's time for we, the people, to stand up. I was at the Capitol, and yeah, I don't know how many people were there. Not as many as the unwelcoming of Joe Biden on Monday. But I would like to see somebody other than, well, there were some representatives that were standing up, but they appear to be the minority.
I have a superpower, Sabrina.
What's that?
Pissing people off. So, I am going to attempt to play devil's advocate. Okay? I just want to make sure you understand and everybody else listening, I am not speaking on behalf of anybody. Right?
Right.
I'm just sparring. Okay? I'm just...
Well, before you do that, let me say, I take 100% responsibility for sleeping and not paying attention to who was elected, who was running, and all of that before. But I think everyone is paying attention now. Okay, go ahead.
All right. So, Speaker was just on, and he's, and I'm going to yada through a lot of it, right? They're going to have a committee, and they're going to check with lawyers, and they need to wait to see how the rules are written so they can find out exactly how to respond directly, and it may not fit everyone's time frame, right? It may not fit your time frame with what you're dealing with. Their bigger goal is to fight the federal overreach, not the individual company mandates.
Well, maybe they should, I heard him say, because I listened to him, he said, we don't want to come between the businesses and the people. Well, excuse me, you are not hired by the businesses except for their money backing you. You work for we the people. You represent us. You are not there to take our rights away so that some business can do whatever they want to do.
That's a debate. That in itself is a debate. You have an opinion on it. By the way, I share the opinion, right? I actually share the opinion with you. All right? In my heart of hearts, I believe you are correct. However, I don't have my own business. Like, I don't own my business. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So I know that there are businesses that have, put rules regarding weight, put rules regarding dress, put rules regarding self-expression, and a number of issues. There are local entities who will not hire those who imbibe or take tobacco products. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
There are government entities that won't hire anyone that does that. So business.
The government doesn't hire smokers. The government. Actually, are you sure?
Yeah.
The government.
Yeah. I'm
can discriminate against smokers.
Here in Idaho. Happens here in Idaho. Believe it or not. Happens here in Idaho. So I say all that. Now, hold on, Sabrina. I heard you talk for a while. So I say all that, and I've said this on air before. The math of it is there are more workers than there are owners. Okay, there are more employees than there are employers. And just because one is a mathematical mathematical majority doesn't mean it's correct. Does that make sense?
Well, so we the people, right? We the people. Really, yeah, I understand what you're saying, but It doesn't make sense to me because we the people, our representatives are supposed to be representing we the people,
right?
The workers, yes, some of the we the people own businesses, but
whose rights outweigh whose?
Well, I guess just like you said, we need to find out who the majority is, I guess.
Yeah.
So it's time for all patriots to stand up for their
All right,
rights.
got it. Big. Sabrina, appreciate the call. What I just heard the speaker said was, we're gonna work on our own time. We're gonna do the right thing. We're not gonna be rushed. You don't want government rushed. I'm paraphrasing, by the way. I'm paraphrasing. Although I'm pretty sure he did say you don't want the government working fast. 208-336-3700. There is not a quorum today. Not a quorum today. Ammon. Do we know a guy by the name of Ammon? And I feel like this is a guy that's been... How many guys in Emmett are named Ammon? Go ahead, sir. You're on 670 KBOI.
Hey, mate. How you doing?
Hey, you don't care either.
And I do care how you feel, mate. I'm asking, how are you doing?
Go ahead with your call.
Well, I thought I would weigh in and let people understand what I think about government getting involved with business and government getting involved in personal lives. I think it's a terrible idea.
Happens all the time, though, doesn't it?
Yeah, it happens all the time, but doesn't mean it's right. It doesn't mean they do it with authority, but it does happen all the time. And I think we have to be really careful to make sure that we don't set something up, even though we think, oh, the legislature is conservative and they have our best interest in mind, and we don't like vaccinations, and we don't like to be told what to do, and we want to go to our jobs and just be left alone. So therefore, we want the legislature, who's quote-unquote conservative, to protect that right. And then all of a sudden, we set a precedent that allows the legislature, that we kind of let the legislature come in and start regulating private businesses. And then where does it end? If we give our consent, if we say that constitutional boundary can be overstepped, then where does it end? And everybody knows where I stand on vaccination, where I stand on masks. You know, I kind of made that clear over the last year and a half. But the last thing we want is the government coming into our businesses and saying you have to hire somebody or you can't fire somebody. I'm telling you, that's the last thing that we want, and the solution to that is the employees uniting together and saying, we will not provide our labor to you if you do not provide the working conditions that we're comfortable with.
Now, where do you fall? Because the outcry comes now after Biden makes the address he did last week. But before he made that address, there were businesses choosing of their own to levy rules on their employees. And don't forget, you have two different issues at hand here, because there are a number of people that are going to government saying, hey, government, stop these employers from doing this to us. And a number of people aren't happy with the response of, well, we don't want to get into over-regulation.
Well, so Biden has no authority to come into a state and mandate something that actually has no authority to do.
Does a business have the authority to mandate its workers get a shot, in your opinion? A medical procedure, in your opinion?
So they can, the only thing they can do is let someone go if they're not willing to comply to that.
Okay. Do they have the right, in your opinion, to do that? Should that right be taken away from an employer by the state?
No, you can't take that right away. You can't. Now, one thing that I will say is that if an employer, and I'll warn, that if an employer mandates something that is harmful to another person and they require it, then that employer must take the liability for that. And I don't think that the employers are considering that.
I would agree with that, but that would include another rule. Ammon, appreciate the call. And since I didn't say Ammon's complete name, those of you other candidates out there, you don't get to. I know what the rules are. All right, we're going to take a break here. When we come back, State Representative Dorothy Moon is going to be joining us from the Idaho State Capitol.
Live, local, Nate Shelman, News Talk 670 KBOI. Listen to KBOI live at KBOI.com.
Hear the most live and local shows, including Casper and Chris, weekday mornings from 6 to 10.
Did you miss your favorite local show? Go to KBOI.com and listen to it as a podcast.
All local podcasts are also available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and the KBOI app.
Stay up to date with station events,